That little flutter of unease you get when the reminder card for your annual checkup arrives in the mail, or maybe just that quiet thought that pops into your head sometimes. Am I really as healthy as I feel? Could something be brewing that I don't know about? It's a feeling many of us share as we move into our 60s and beyond. We've lived full lives, maybe raised families, built careers, navigated all sorts of ups and downs, and now we want to enjoy this chapter with as much vitality and independence as possible. And that slight worry, that nagging question about what might be going on inside, is completely understandable. You're certainly not alone if you feel that way. It stems from a place of wanting to stay well, wanting to be proactive, and that's actually a really positive thing. So, that's what I thought we could chat about today, really focusing on some key health checks, specific tests that become particularly important after age 65. Think of it not as looking for problems, but as empowering ourselves with knowledge. It's about uncovering the secrets to potentially catching things early, when they're often much easier to manage, allowing us to protect our health and truly make the most of these years. Because honestly, staying ahead of potential health issues is one of the most powerful ways we can maintain our quality of life, keep doing the things we love, and spend precious time with the people who matter most to us. Over the next little while together, we'll explore some simple but vital screenings. Things like how checking your blood pressure regularly is more crucial than ever, understanding what those cholesterol numbers really mean for you now, why keeping an eye on bone health becomes so important, navigating the different cancer screenings available, and not forgetting about our vital senses, our vision and hearing. It's not about adding more worry to your plate. Quite the opposite. It's about demystifying these tests, understanding why they matter for us at this stage of life, and feeling confident having these conversations with your doctor. It puts you back in the driver's seat of your own health journey. Let's start with something many of us are familiar with, but perhaps don't always realize the increasing importance of as we age. Blood pressure monitoring. You know the routine. The cuff inflates on your arm, tightens for a moment, then slowly releases. It seems simple, almost mundane, but that quick check is incredibly vital. It measures the force of your blood pushing against the walls of your arteries as your heart beats and rests. The top number, the systolic, is the pressure when your heart contracts, and the bottom number, the diastolic, is the pressure when your heart relaxes between beats. Now, the recommendation generally is to have your blood pressure checked at least once every 1 to 2 years if it's typically in the normal range. However, if your numbers have been creeping up, or if you have other health considerations like heart issues, diabetes, or kidney problems, your doctor will likely want to check it much more often, perhaps even at every visit. And here's the really important part. High blood pressure, or hypertension, is often called the silent killer for a reason. You can feel perfectly fine, energetic even, and still have dangerously high blood pressure. It often presents with absolutely no symptoms, especially in the early stages. Yet, undetected and untreated, it significantly increases your risk of very serious problems: heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, even issues with vision. These risks naturally increase as we get older, making regular checks absolutely essential. I remember chatting with a neighbor, Frank, a lively gentleman in his early 70s, always out gardening or walking his dog. He felt fantastic, never sick a day in his life, he'd say. He only went for his checkup because his wife insisted. Imagine his surprise when his blood pressure was significantly elevated. He had no clue, but because they caught it, his doctor was able to start him on a simple medication and recommend some small dietary changes. Frank's still out gardening, feeling just as good, but now with the peace of mind that a potentially serious risk is being managed. It really highlights why we can't rely solely on how we feel. Does that kind of situation sound familiar? Perhaps with someone you know? Many doctors now also recommend monitoring your blood pressure at home if it's borderline or high. Those home machines are quite accurate these days and can give you and your doctor a clearer picture of your pressure patterns throughout the day. It's a simple step that provides really valuable information. Building on that idea of monitoring things that might not cause obvious symptoms, let's talk about cholesterol. This is another one most of us have heard about for years, often linked with diet, but its importance doesn't diminish with age. In fact, levels can tend to rise as we get older. A cholesterol screening is done through a simple blood test, often called a lipid profile or lipid panel. It measures several types of fats in your blood. LDL, which is often called the bad cholesterol because high levels can lead to plaque buildup in your arteries. HDL, the good cholesterol, because it helps remove excess cholesterol from your system. And triglycerides, another type of fat that, in high levels, can also increase your risk. Generally, adults over 65 should aim to have their cholesterol checked every 4 to 6 years. But again, just like with blood pressure, if you have known risk factors for heart disease, maybe you have high blood pressure, diabetes, you smoke or used to smoke, or there's a strong family history of heart problems, your doctor will likely recommend more frequent testing. Why does this matter so much now? Because elevated cholesterol contributes directly to atherosclerosis, that hardening and narrowing of the arteries we talked about. This process is the underlying cause of most heart attacks and strokes. Detecting high cholesterol early means you can take steps to manage it, often starting with lifestyle adjustments like eating more heart-healthy foods. Think fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, and getting regular physical activity. For some people, medication might also be necessary to get those numbers into a safer range. Knowing your specific numbers, not just your total cholesterol, but the breakdown of LDL, HDL, and triglycerides, allows your doctor to assess your personal risk more accurately and work with you on the best plan. It's much more nuanced than just good or bad. Understanding those details helps tailor the approach specifically for you, protecting your heart health for the long run. It takes the guesswork out of it and helps focus efforts where they'll make the most difference. And thinking about protecting ourselves leads naturally to another area that becomes incredibly important as we age, our bone health. You might notice friends starting to stoop a little, or perhaps you worry more about falls than you used to. It's a common concern, and for good reason. Our bones naturally lose density over time, making them more susceptible to weakening and breaking. This is where a bone density scan, often called a DEXA scan, comes in. It's a very simple, painless test, like a low-dose X-ray, that measures the mineral content in your bones, usually focusing on your hip and spine, areas most vulnerable to serious fractures. It helps doctors assess your risk of osteoporosis, a condition where bones become porous and fragile. Now, the standard recommendation is for women to begin getting these scans starting at age 65. This is because the hormonal changes after menopause significantly accelerate bone loss. However, men aren't immune. Men over 70 should also discuss screening with their doctor, and even younger men might need it if they have specific risk factors, things like smoking, long-term use of steroid medications, low body weight, or a history of fractures. Depending on your initial results and risk factors, your doctor will suggest how often you need follow-up scans. Often, it's every 2 years, but it can vary. Why is this screening so vital? Because osteoporosis often develops silently until a fracture occurs. And a fracture, especially a hip fracture, can be truly life-altering for an older adult. It can lead to surgery, lengthy rehabilitation, a loss of independence, and sometimes serious complications that impact overall health and longevity. Catching low bone density early allows you to take proactive steps. This might include ensuring you get enough calcium and vitamin D, doing weight-bearing exercises like walking or light strength training, and making home safety modifications to prevent falls. In some cases, medication might be recommended to help strengthen bones. Think of it like checking the foundation of your house. You want to make sure it's strong and stable to support everything else. Knowing your bone density empowers you to reinforce that foundation. I know someone whose mother, in her late 70s, had a DEXA scan that showed significant thinning. They worked with her doctor on diet, supplements, and a gentle exercise program, and importantly, they made small changes around her home, removing trip hazards, adding grab bars in the bathroom. It gave everyone peace of mind, knowing they were actively reducing her risk of a potentially devastating fall. It's about prevention, plain and simple. Let's talk about a few key cancer screenings relevant for our age group. First, colorectal cancer. This is cancer of the colon or rectum, and screening is generally recommended for adults starting at age 45, all the way up to 75. For those aged 76 to 85, the decision becomes more individualized. It's a conversation to have with your doctor, weighing your overall health, life expectancy, and past screening history. The most common screening test is a colonoscopy, where a doctor uses a thin, flexible tube with a camera to look inside the entire colon. Yes, the preparation for it isn't exactly fun. Many people find that the most challenging part, but the test itself is usually done under sedation and is incredibly effective at finding precancerous polyps, which can be removed right then and there, preventing cancer from even developing. There are also other screening options, like stool-based tests you can do at home, which look for hidden blood or DNA changes. These are done more frequently, usually yearly. Discussing the pros and cons of each option with your doctor is key to choosing the one that's right for you. The crucial point is doing the screening. Remember that statistic? When colorectal cancer is caught early, the 5-year survival rate is over 90%. If it's found late, after it has spread, that rate drops significantly, below 15%. That difference is why screening is so incredibly important. For women, breast cancer screening with mammography is another vital check. A mammogram is an X-ray of the breast tissue. Recommendations generally suggest screening every 2 years for women aged 50 to 74, who are at average risk. After age 74, again, it becomes an individualized decision based on your health and preferences. So it's important to continue that conversation with your doctor. While mammograms aren't perfect, they are the best tool we have for finding breast cancer early, often years before a lump can be felt. That early detection significantly improves treatment options and outcomes. Many women feel a sense of relief after getting a clear mammogram result, knowing they've taken that important step. Lung cancer screening is also recommended for certain individuals. This involves an annual low-dose CT scan of the chest. This isn't for everyone. It's specifically for adults age 55 to 80 who have a significant smoking history, typically defined as smoking about a pack a day for 20 years or more, and who currently smoke or have quit within the past 15 years. If you fit this criteria, talk to your doctor. Finding lung cancer early through screening, before symptoms develop, can make a life-saving difference. And for men, there's the discussion around prostate cancer screening, usually involving a PSA, prostate-specific antigen blood test, and sometimes a digital rectal exam. This is perhaps one of the most nuanced screening decisions. While detecting prostate cancer early can be beneficial, some prostate cancers grow very slowly and may never cause harm, leading to concerns about overdiagnosis and potential side effects from treatment like surgery or radiation. Therefore, the decision to screen is highly personal. Men should have an open discussion with their doctor about the potential benefits, risks, and uncertainties of PSA testing, usually starting this conversation around age 55, or earlier if they are at higher risk, like African American men or those with a strong family history. It's about making an informed choice that aligns with your personal values and health goals. Understanding these different cancer screenings, their purpose, and the recommendations specific to your age and risk factors allows you to participate actively in these important decisions about your health. Alongside monitoring our internal health, we absolutely cannot forget about our crucial connections to the world around us, our vision and hearing. It's something many of us notice changing subtly over time, isn't it? Maybe the print in books seems smaller, or you find yourself asking people to repeat things more often, especially in noisy environments. These changes can feel like just a normal part of getting older, but regular checks are essential because significant loss in either sense can deeply impact our quality of life, our safety, and even our social connections. For vision, the recommendation is a comprehensive eye exam every single year for adults over 65. This is more than just checking if your glasses prescription needs updating. The eye doctor will assess your visual acuity, how clearly you see, your peripheral vision, and importantly, check the pressure inside your eyes to screen for glaucoma, a condition that damages the optic nerve, often without early symptoms, and can lead to irreversible blindness if not caught and treated. They'll also examine the back of your eye, looking for signs of age-related macular degeneration, AMD, which affects central vision, and cataracts, a clouding of the lens. Finding these conditions early allows for interventions, whether it's prescription eye drops for glaucoma, specific nutritional supplements, or treatments for AMD, or cataract surgery, which is incredibly common and effective these days, that can preserve your sight and maintain your independence. Think about how much we rely on our vision for driving, reading, recognizing faces, navigating safely, and avoiding falls. Protecting it is paramount. Similarly, hearing assessments are recommended every 1 to 3 years, or sooner if you or your loved ones notice you're having trouble hearing. A hearing test, usually done by an audiologist, measures your ability to hear sounds at different frequencies and volumes. Age-related hearing loss is incredibly common and often gradual, so you might not even realize how much you're missing. But untreated hearing loss isn't just frustrating. It's linked to social isolation, depression, and even an increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Identifying hearing loss early means you can explore solutions like hearing aids. Modern hearing aids are remarkably sophisticated and discreet compared to older models, and they can make a world of difference in your ability to engage in conversations, enjoy music, hear warning sounds, and stay connected to the people and activities you love. I recall a friend whose husband was becoming increasingly withdrawn and irritable. It turned out he was struggling significantly with hearing loss, but hadn't wanted to admit it. Getting hearing aids quite literally changed his personality back. He was engaged, laughing, participating again. It was a powerful reminder of how vital these senses are to our overall well-being. Now, beyond those 5 core areas we've chatted about, blood pressure, cholesterol, bone density, cancer screenings, and vision hearing, there are a few other checks that are definitely worth discussing with your doctor as part of your regular care. Quick blood tests can screen for diabetes or prediabetes by checking your blood glucose levels, another condition that becomes more common with age and benefits greatly from early management. Brief cognitive function assessments can help screen for early signs of memory problems like dementia or Alzheimer's disease, allowing for earlier support and planning if needed. Don't underestimate the importance of regular dental exams, usually twice a year. Your oral health is strongly linked to your overall health, and dentists can sometimes spot signs of systemic issues. And simple blood and urine tests can assess your kidney function, checking for chronic kidney disease, which often progresses silently. These aren't always formal screenings in the same way, but they are crucial parts of that proactive health conversation with your healthcare provider. So, as we've been exploring, taking these proactive steps, having these checks done regularly, isn't about searching for illness. It's really about investing in your future well-being. It's about gathering information, understanding your own body better, and catching potential issues at a stage where you have the most options and the best chance for positive outcomes. It truly empowers you to stay active, independent, and enjoy this vibrant chapter of life to the fullest. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's about progress, about taking those manageable steps. Be kind to yourself through this process. Sometimes just making the appointment is the biggest hurdle, and that's okay. Every little bit you do to stay informed and proactive makes a difference. Don't hesitate to ask your doctor questions. That's what they're there for. Make sure you understand the why behind each test and what the results mean for you. I'd love to hear about your own experiences or perhaps any tips you have for navigating these health checks. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Creating a supportive community where we can learn from each other is so valuable. If you found this conversation helpful, please do give the video a like. It really helps others find it. And consider subscribing if you'd like more chats focused on living well and staying vibrant after 60. Take good care of yourselves. Be proactive. And here's to making every day a little brighter and healthier.